What is up? This is Sam with Too Much Test Podcast, episode number 31. We're going to be covering some awesome stuff around peptides. There's peptides for growing hair, there's peptides for losing weight, there's peptides for tanning, there's peptides for HGH. Maybe you want some of that longevity HGH benefits like better sleep, better hair, better skin, more muscle, dropping some body fat. There's all of that kind of stuff. And we're going to be talking about that today in episode 31 of Too Much Test. What's up, guys? We also have a special guest here from my crypto show, GRC. What's good, brother? Great to see you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on, man. How are you?
I get to talk about something other than crypto for once. Somebody's playing a little video. But I get to play something, talk about something, my old love, my old intimate love, pharmacology research. The best. It's the best. I love it. I love watching. I've watched TYL for reference. My name is Jim Rat Crypto, and I do crypto in the morning on my channel. And I was watching Sam. And I don't know what does TYL stand for again?
Test your levels.
Right. Test your levels. I've been out of the test game for a minute, but I was watching them years ago. I mean, like 2, maybe 3 years ago, I was watching TYL, and Sam Stolts 6 years ago, I was watching Sam Stolts. They were talking about similar things that they're talking to now. And there's only more cool stuff. Like it only adds on just the fringe, but thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
How interesting is that we connected over the internet, Test Your Levels and I connected over the internet. By the way, there's going to be some links down below wherever you're watching for Jim Rat stuff, or for my stuff, for Test Your Levels, whether it's affiliate stuff. Test Your Levels, you want to give your promo or show you whatever it is that you're talking about real quick and say hi to everybody?
Sure, absolutely. What's going on, guys? You can find me on YouTube, obviously, Instagram and TikTok under the same name, and just have links in the bio. But it is random. It shows how small the world is. That like Jim Rat, you were watching my videos and you already knew Sam. I never even knew Sam, and then I connected to him, and now we're all on the same freaking podcast.
It's so weird. Just a couple of guys that like YouTube and pharmacology and that stuff. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Think about that. What a small world, though, because Test Your Levels, you and I connected, what was it, 1.5 years, 2 years ago now?
Something like that, yeah.
And we were just like chit-chatting back and forth, talking Sarms or peptides or gear for probably about a year before we started this podcast. Yeah. And then we started this podcast. GRC and I had known each other this whole time, and you'd watch, like, what a freaking small world.
Weird. It's serendipitous, to say the least. Like, a lot of it makes you feel like you're on the right path, right? Like, you're like, oh, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, because maybe there's some synergy there. Like, other guys that have been doing a good job sticking around are doing similar work. It's like, oh, this is a good place to be. It's a good. Real quick, Sam, in the private chat, I posted a really cool link to this episode on Twitter. Go ahead and post that in the comments. Everyone in the comments, go retweet that, because I get a lot of love on Twitter. So go ahead and retweet that. And yeah, because I think this is really important stuff for people. Has TYL heard about the Crypto Fitness Challenge?
No, but he's about to. After I just say hi to a couple of the chat, and then I want you to please tell him about the Crypto Fitness Challenge, which is dope, because you can bring together these two awesome worlds, like the fringe of the fitness community stuff and the crypto, which is like cutting edge. Two things that I'm super passionate about, that you're super passionate about. So, Jerry, what's good? We have Bally at Bull Rush. Good afternoon. Here for the Alpha. Christopher, how you doing? Hexander, what's up, man? Good to see you here. I'm glad you decided to come over here. Flat Earth, I saw you this morning, and I appreciated you then, and I still appreciate you today. Bit Finesse, good to see you again. The Crypto Fitness Challenge is something that we're working on. We're about 1 month in, and GRC, you want to talk about that a little bit, because this has been an awesome experience.
Yeah, and there's going to be more in the future, guys. So we basically did a free fitness challenge on an app. What you have to do to sign up is I had a thread on Twitter at the time, and it blew up. And basically they posted a picture. We said, we're going to do a fitness challenge. Winner's getting a bunch of crypto, right? But it's not me teaching anyone really anything. It's more so a competition to see who can have the biggest transformation within 90 days. And there's 3 winners, and they're all earning thousands and thousands of dollars in crypto, along with prizes, shields, memorabilia, trigger subs, everything. And we already have guys in there. It's been about 30 something days. We have guys in there have lost upwards of 50 pounds. And there was 450 signups. There's about 250 active on the app. It's been a really good thing, guys. So, and a couple of them are in the chat here. So it's been good to be able to kind of try to merge the bodybuilding world and the crypto world a little.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool idea. I mean, you guys are testing these guys, right? They have to be natty.
No, but there's
natty. Hell no, hell no. Sam's disqualified for the next 20 decades if that's the case. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But there's a lot of people, like, we take it for granted because it's something that we do, right? We've been in this arena, we've cared about fitness and we've cared about diet and all this kind of stuff for years. So you kind of take some stuff for granted. Like if you're in medical field or you're in some specific niche of some sort and you've been doing it for years and years, you forget what it's like sometimes to be when you're a beginner, what it's like to go through the beginning stages and some of the things that, remember, GRC, we were talking to Bullish, our friend Bullish, who also helps us out with the crypto show. And he had never, what was it, a bicep curl? He'd never heard of a bicep curl.
Yeah, we were talking about a bicep curl and he asked where it was on the arm. And we were like, it just set us back. We weren't making fun of him or anything. He's a Web3 guy. Like he doesn't, he was playing with the internet and shit. He was fucking around making tons of money on the internet doing things we got no idea about. But he didn't know what a bicep was. So me and Sam kind of looked at each other and we're like, wow, like this is an interesting concept. And then I started posting pictures of my body on my Twitter and I never did that before, right? Because I was doing crypto only. It was a picture for my profile picture with my shirt off, but that was it. And because I have really sharp abs and they kind of show up well. And so I started posting pictures and it caught on. People were like not hating on me, not calling me like a narcissistic prick. And they were like, this is positive. Like he's telling people to do cardio for 45 minutes a day, which I always recommend to every person in this world. Get their heart health checked every time, guys. I'm telling you, you have to get checked out, even if you're on, off, or whatever. Supplementation, guys. And that's what I was preaching. And they were like, I like this. This guy wants us to stay alive longer. Because in our community, I have staked cryptocurrency that's 15 years locked up and gaining yield. So I'm trying to tell my friends, like, you're 55 and 290 pounds. Like, you're probably going to be dead. Literally.
That's a long position on crypto, bro. 15 years. That shit could either be worth exactly the same. It could be worth 10 million, or it could be the.
What are the chances that you know more about that 15-year stake than I do?
I don't know. But something that you did mention that is interesting. I mean, if you look at the average person, I mean, a lot of people don't know anything about fitness. They don't know anything about supplements or vitamins even. I was reading an article before I hopped on here. There was this girl and she had stomach pain. So she took a Tylenol. Next day, still had stomach pain, took 2 Tylenol, went on this for like a while, eventually had to go to the hospital. And she gets to the hospital and they're like, yo, you've got acetaminophen poisoning. And by the way, you need a liver transplant.
Wow.
And, that's something, I mean, we've talked about Tylenol, acetaminophen, how it wouldn't pass, the FDA test of whatever the hell it is these days. And the UK is actually, in the UK, Tylenol is behind the counter, like Sudafed is here. And you can only buy like a certain amount of pills. You can't get like a jumbo, like fucking 500 pack at Sam's.
Yeah, the dual pack, 250.
Yeah, dual 500 pack. And,
I have one of the, I swear I never take Tylenol, but I see them. Yeah, it's like extra strength, 500 mgs or whatever, like big ass fucking, and nobody would know the difference. People pop 4 of those, like it's no problem. I know people that pop. I'm like, I don't really have an Advil doesn't really do it for me, to be honest. Once you get into PEDs, you don't really like to play around with the Advil anymore.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
You're popping Anadrol and Superdrol and shit. Tylenol that's not even a thing. They said that 50,000 people are admitted to the ER every year with acetaminophen poisoning, and 500 of them die. That's fucking Tylenol.
50,000, and they're producing it. It's just like a population control.
And this is something that's like over the counter here, but think about like the things that you have to that are super beneficial. Like, so obviously this is not super beneficial for the giant portion of the population, but something like ephedrine, right? That like some idiot took 17 times the normal dose for fat loss and they killed themselves because that killed one person. Like this dumbass who just took too much of it versus somebody who like ibuprofen or the Tylenol stuff that fucks up your gut and fucks up your liver. Like if you, it's just crazy how society is, where you have something that is purported to be good. The doctor's like, oh yeah, just go home and take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen or Tylenol. And what you just mentioned, there's 50,000 of these incidents where they go to the hospital. There was a study done in, I think it was Johns Hopkins University a number of years ago, where they looked at the number of people that were killed per year due to complications related to surgeries, due to the wrong prescription being given, due to all of the things related to medical.
You could literally
practice.
blast like 3 grams of fucking test and you won't die at all. Think about that though, like the stigma on tests. Like when I told my parents that I took tests for the first time, and that's a subject, right? Like I'm a bit younger, so I'm 28 years old, and this was a few years, maybe a year ago now or something. And they were absolutely mortified. Man, I was already red pill broken out of the matrix.
Well, how did that go? How did that conversation go when you told your parents?
Well, they were like, you're aggressive, you're crazy, you're gonna, the whole thing. And I am aggressive and I am crazy. So they had lots of points there, but I was always aggressive and crazy. And I've never been depressed since I started taking testosterone ever. And I've been depressed chronically on and off my entire life. And I'm not saying that test is good for everyone. I take meticulous care of my health. Therefore, it's not for everyone. Like if you're eating McDonald's every day and your blood pressure is horrid, you should not be slamming tests, period. Like, you know what I mean? But with a doctor, like I showed my parents a prescription. I was like, this is from the doctor. I was on 60 milligrams of Adderall when I was 13 years old. No choice to take it every single day. It said on the bottle, every single day. My dopamine system was so fried by the time I was in 10th and 11th grade that I was in a full-blown psychosis. I had no idea what was going on anymore. Now, at the time, I had no idea, but I was smoking weed chronic. I was completely doing things like habitually. My brain was fried. I was looking for dopamine everywhere and everything I did. I had no idea what was going on. And my parents thought that was cool. But when I started taking tests, and this is, I have to say this out loud because this is the reality. Like, this is reality. It's the truth. Like, if my parents would hate to hear this conversation, and they're not listening to this. There's 0% chance.
I texted to him.
But I'm saying, like, testosterone really benefited me in a lot of ways. And if you really look at the risk profile in the studies, like, you have to be clear, like, this is 100% manipulated and manufactured propaganda when it comes to testosterone, but things like Adderall get the pass because it's already in the pharmaceutical lineup. Like they are.
And Adderall is like one molecule off from methamphetamine, which is like a super controlled substance, and testosterone is made in your body. But think about the crazy shit that we allow. I mean, look at, I was remembering I couldn't remember the name, the Four Locos. Those 8% alcohol, 24-ounce can with fucking like probably like 300 milligrams of caffeine. I had a side hustle long time ago with a buddy, and we would go to this office on Saturday. We'd pick up some Four Locos. We would get drunk and get, super, up, and we would work on website shit. But I mean, imagine, the FDA is like, all right, 8% alcohol, like 600 grams of sugar and 300 milligrams of caffeine. Good to go. It's crazy what we do.
What GRC was mentioning, what you just mentioned, I'm reading this book by a doctor right now. It's all about hormones. It's fascinating because I've paid a lot of attention to like androgens and building muscle. So things related to that, whether it's HGH or insulin or testosterone, but that's kind of like those three areas are like a lot of what I've spent time studying in, right? Well, this book is covering hormones in general. So he's going through and talking about the thyroid and adrenal fatigue, and how to go back to to tie it into what you guys were just saying, how the doctors will actually prescribe. This is from a doctor. Like, we believe, all the nefarious shit that's going on is actual reality, even though this is what they tell you is happening. But we actually know what's happening in the back room, where the research is getting funded by Big Pharma to tell a certain story in one direction. And there's this doctor actually talking about it in this book, and how things like Adderall will be prescribed, but hormones, the things that's naturally in your body.
Adderall closes your hormone profile, by the way.
It probably lowers your test levels, I bet.
Without question, you don't even eat.
Have you ever seen a jacked meth head? I don't think so. They're usually skinny and dirty.
It's just like, it's so annoying to deal with people. Like, once you get into this realm of like pharmacology research, crypto, everything where it takes really intensive detail to like pick through, it's like, you gotta like, I only talk to my friends now, like a couple of them. I hadn't even met Sam before, and he's like my best friend. And it's like, because everyone I talk to on the feed is absolutely brainwashed, and they don't care about any of the shit I'm talking about.
Isn't it? If you look at what are the most like popular shows, it's like The Masked Singer. It's just mindless shit. Most of the like sitcoms, like I can't watch sitcoms. I'm like, yeah, I know this. I know where this joke is going. It's not funny. I've already seen it before. But then you see people and they're like, online, like, oh my God, best episode ever. And I'm like, that's fucking trash. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not funny. It's, I don't know. And like the Oscars and stuff like that.
It's like our
IQs
are too high or something.
What's that?
It's like our IQs are too high or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but everyone bothers me. And everything I watch bothers me. And I think it's all like just low-hanging fruit. There's just so much low-hanging fruit. And I just hate that. Like, even in the crypto and the bodybuilding space, if you just type in bodybuilding to YouTube, like, come on, guys.
Oh, the information.
You're going to get trash can garbage. You're going to be taking all sorts of eating pig brains and doing all sorts of shit, and you're going to be fat, and you're just not going to know what the fuck.
Tell TYL, and then we'll get into this Alex question here. But TYL, GRC is going to be doing an experiment probably this summer or maybe in the fall with pig brains. Do you want to talk about that? And just, I know you're not an expert in it, but just brief, because you've done more research on.
Yeah. So there's this thing called cerebacillum. I can never say it right. Cerebalicin is what it's called. And it's actually pig brains. And you actually inject them into yourself, and they have a plasticity effect on your brain. And it actually can, when you're going through a major life change, it's a good way to get through that, because it helps you adjust faster.
That's interesting.
Because that increases like their neuroplasticity, which is kind of, I think of it from my understanding, is like the malleability of your receptor, or like your synapses, or whatever, the flexibility of your brain.
If you want to stop chronic weed smoking, that's a big one for me. Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I don't beat around the bush. So I'm a chronic weed smoker. And it doesn't affect me within the intellectual realm, but it's just annoying that I have to do something all the time. So I want to do an experiment where I stop doing that, but I don't want to be affected negatively while it happens. So I was like, let me look this shit up and see if I can figure it out.
How are you going to structure this? What's your thinking?
Complicated. I would have to, maybe next episode I can go through like with a detailed dosage protocol. And because it is, I have a detailed dosage protocol. I just don't.
Higher level though. Is it going to be like, okay, I'm stopping weed?
Basically, you start. It's best if you stop completely and just eat the first couple of weeks of like whatever negative feeling. It wouldn't be that intense, obviously, but like it's an experiment too. So whatever negative feelings you would get from stopping the weed use, it'd probably be more beneficial for you to just eat the 2 weeks of that while you're starting the cerebacillum. But people do it also, like they start the cerebacillum and then they stop the weed on one day. But yes, at some point you stop the weed on one day, and you just don't do it anymore.
Interesting. That sounds like something that might be fun just to actually try, because like in this arena, I mean, some things that are not necessarily required, but are just interesting or stimulating to the mind to be like, oh wow,
Yeah,
this has
and
all
I
these
could pull a clip up if you guys are like interested in like someone that's a professional talking about it. Like I could pull a clip up, but it's from Leo Longevity, but I don't have to either. Like
No, that's fine. Why don't let's cover some of these questions, and then I wouldn't be opposed to listening to the clip.
Yeah, maybe if I can find a good spot, I'll do it. I'm gonna look up in the background.
There was one from Alex. Can you pull that one?
Yep. Yeah. If you were to take daily test sip, what would be the dose per day for mood improvement? And that's something that we can't answer. No one, I don't know how you're going to react. You may be someone that only needs 100 milligrams per week. You may be someone that needs 200. And there's not like a specific dose for mood improvement. You're getting your hormone levels to a certain level where you feel good and have less side effects or no side effects. I mean, I see a lot of guys doing 14 milligrams a day. What's that? 70, 28. That's about 100 milligrams. So if you were to jump up to 28 milligrams a day,
that's roughly mine. Yeah, interesting.
Is it? And you do daily?
No, but when I do, I do every other, but that would be the dosage if I did daily.
Gotcha.
Have you ever tried daily?
No, but I'm getting there. It's more of a pain in the butt, but if you do it in your glute, no issue.
No, I know, but it's just so I did it for probably like 6 or 7 months, like daily injections, and then I also was doing peptide, hexarelin, which is a peptide for HGH. Oh, and you're doing, because one's an oil and one's a water base. So you're doing two injections. The hexarelin I would do on workout days. So 5 days a week, I'm doing 2 injections. And the weekends, I'm just doing the testosterone injections, similar to what Alex is mentioning. And what is that? 10, 11, 12. So you're doing 12 injections per week, and it just gets so needle fatigue.
I know, dude. I'm telling you, I am so sensitive to testosterone. Like, if there is testosterone in the room with me, like, I'm gonna freak out. Like, it's that bad. Like, Sam cannot relate to this at all. But like, if I up my dose by like 15 milligrams a day, like, I am going to be looking for someone to have sex with, and I am going to be directly focused on like animalistic things, like immediately. And it switches. I have to keep my dose so effing low. I'm telling you, people think, dude, if I did a blast, I would be so upset. Like, it really makes me emotional.
You and TYL have both done higher dosages than I've done. What are I've toyed around with the thought of going to, like, say 350 or 400 for some period of time, just for fun, to see what it was like. What's your guys' take? Like, we're not saying anybody should do anything that we talk about in this video. This is just for entertainment and educational purposes, but say hypothetically, and then we'll get into more of those questions or the comments. What are your thoughts? Like, GFC, I think you had mentioned one time, if I remember correctly, you'd done, I think at one point for a shorter period of time, like 350. Towards the very beginning, when the doctor,
every relationship I had was ruined.
Because all you wanted to do was have sex?
No, all I wanted to do was tell everyone they were fucking idiots, and I was smarter than them. And so people say, like, I'm not aggressive, like, I'm not going to punch anyone in the face or fight anyone, but I will tell people to F off, like, literally. And it does and it's good sometimes, but with your family and stuff, not so good. Like, you don't want to be like super aggro. But I'm a bachelor, so it's like, I mean, I'm a single guy, so it's like, at the same time, it benefits me a lot in my personal life. But like, when I'm around family, like, they're like, you're a little jacked up, bro. And again, I'm super open, that, Sam. So I want to be normal feeling. I like to be normal feeling for the most part. So I don't like going there anymore. And my body responds perfect to like 120 anyway. Like, I could basically eat like 1,000 calories and my body still won't change too much. Where before I would have gotten skinny fat in 2 months.
So would you think it was, for somebody like me, and do you think that would be a fun experience, or like, would you be like, hey, don't?
It's not necessary.
I've never done it before.
Other substances would feel better.
What is your take, TYL? What is your take, TYL? Because you've also done a 500 blast.
Why stop at 500? 750. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just to the moon, as the crypto guys say.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to answer this question real quick. Is it normal for your estrogen to go up when your testosterone goes up? Absolutely. Testosterone aromatizes into estrogen. So in theory, they should go up, kind of in the same ratio. But yeah, that's definitely goes up for sure.
There was a question.
That's why we do 7-day pins too, because it does help with the influx.
And that's why you or all three of us are doing multiple times a week to help. Because when you do, if you're on testosterone and you're taking an injection once a week, like say Cypionate.
Horrible.
Yeah. So, dude, we had a guy on here last week who was in the chat who was taking, his doctor was having him do, what was it, 100 milligrams every 2 weeks? No, it was 200 milligrams every 2 weeks.
Dude, the ignorance within that community.
From his doctor.
Dude, yeah. But think about this. I have an Adderall protocol that I wrote down, and I discuss with friends only, I actually have never told anyone anything. But I do 5 milligrams a day, 3 days a week maximum. And I, as somebody who was 70 pounds less at the time and 13 years old, was on double the dose. And they said I had to take it every single day. Like, Adderall is not meant to be taken every single day. You freaking Riri doctors. Like, what are you doing? What world are we in? Incredibly weird.
I had a buddy that was prescribed 3 30-milligram Adderalls a day. I mean, we used to stay late at night and make phone calls.
Did you say 330 milligrams?
Yep.
Once a day?
No, 330. I mean, yeah, but every day. So
90 mil. Holy shit.
Yeah,
dude, heart has to be destroyed. What?
Dude, he was an interesting character. He was a big son of a bitch, country boy from Florida, hunted. Like, he was the dude. If he was driving to work and like there was like someone had hit a deer on the side of the road, like he'd load that bitch up in his truck and go home and like quarter it and get it in the freezer and shit. But yeah, he was a big hulking football player, dude. And when we used to say late and made dial for dollars, I remember he'd see him in his little cube and he'd be freaking crushing up a 30 milligram and and then he'd start calling people. But he would also listen to this crazy shit because he liked working out. He would go to Publix for lunch and he would buy a whole rotisserie chicken. And then he would buy one of those tubs or the bottles of liquid egg whites. And he would squirt Mio into the liquid egg whites. And that was his drink. So a whole chicken and a
describe what Mio is. Describe what Mio is. No, you don't do this. This is fucked up. This is like weird shit.
I thought you said egg whites. My bad.
So Mio is like that concentrated shit that you put in a drink.
So like those drops with 0 calories that you drop in water to like add the flavor. He's putting that in his egg whites and then drinking the egg whites that way. And it's
that's not a horrible idea.
Hey, I actually tried it. It wasn't horrible, but I wouldn't like it.
Egg whites is milk for bodybuilders. That's what it literally tastes like watered down, like skim milk, to be honest. And it's but if you have any humans that you're interacting with in that day, they will smell you. They will smell you everywhere you go. And that's why I generally don't partake so much in the egg white game anymore. But when you're full mode bodybuilding, you don't care about your farts.
No,
but I'm not.
But on that, I want to talk about Carlos's question, but real quick on the farting thing, because when you back in the day, I used to eat chicken and broccoli 7 days a week for every single meal, and then like once a week I would do a cheat meal, and I'd eat an entire carton of ice cream or a large pepperoni pizza from Costco, which is like 4,500 calories. This is what I'd eat when I was cutting. And I was cutting for around 6 months or so, and I was like stupid lean, like way. And people think that I'm relatively lean now. I was substantially leaner back then. And what this is when I worked in Hawaii, and my office was like this. There was a door, then you go over or across the hall, there'd be other offices there. And my farts were so bad that there was contractors that worked next door. So that I could hear them walk past the office. He goes into the office where his buddy's working, and he goes in there, and I can hear because it's like right next door. He's like, "Bro, what is that smell?" And it was that it was at that point I knew my gut was fucked up. Like something in my gut was messed up, and that is why my farts were so bad, because like I was so micronutrient deficient. Like I've talked to GRC about this many times. Like I was eating chicken and broccoli. Fucking awesome. You're like, chicken and broccoli, cool. That's super healthy and whatnot. But when you think about those things, broccoli has a macro and a micronutrient profile of macronutrients in it and micronutrients in it. And you're like, okay, cool, great. But what is not in those things, or like beef, say, is different, fish is different, pork is different, etc. And different types of cuts of beef or different types of cuts of fish have different micronutrient profiles. And because I was eating boiled chicken, like so incredibly bland, I didn't even season it. Sometimes I put a little bit of salt or sometimes a little bit of sriracha, but boiled plain chicken with broccoli or peas. And I wasn't getting the micronutrients I needed. And that was effing up my gut. I was super, super lean, but I was bloated every single day. And my farts were so incredibly disgusting. As soon as I made the change to start adding in more micronutrients into my diet through like increasing use of spices and herbs, increasing usage of vegetables and whatnot, my gut improved immediately. And my farts, like, I barely even smell. Like, fart right next to my girlfriend. She's eating dinner. She doesn't even notice. I don't know if that's exactly true, but that's how I feel about it.
Carl, way behind on questions.
You want to pull some up?
Hey, real quick, while we're pulling up questions. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna pump the stream a little bit, guys. Drop that tweet one more time, guys. If you're in here and you have not smashed the like yet, you're an absolute low T. You're very low T. Okay, you're super low T if you haven't hit the like. Very beta, very not chatty of you. Chad Donnerschwan's great to see you in here, guys. He dropped the link down there. Go to Twitter and retweet that. See if we can get some randoms in here. That I've already gotten a few Twitter DMs saying, "What are you doing over there?" And they're excited to come over here and check it out, guys. And we're gonna make. I want to merge the gap between bodybuilding and what I'm doing a little bit. So I want to be, maybe whether it's this show or whatever, like I want to talk about this kind of stuff.
We'll have you back on regularly. Like,
I'd love to, because this is the alpha right here.
Blockchain. And well, this was an interesting question. So if the body makes 15 milligrams of test at most naturally, which equals 20 milligrams of test sip, he's probably minusing for the ester, does it make sense for 140 milligram of total weekly dose? I was under the impression that the body makes about 7 milligrams a day. I mean, obviously it fluctuates, but I mean, 140 could be a good dose for you. 100 could be a good dose for you. 200. It's not like there's not like a natural, like, okay, the human male body makes 140 milligrams a week, so that's what we inject minus the ester. It's all about what works best for you. You may feel fantastic at 100, like you, GRC. You like a lower dose. You don't.
Oh, it feels like I feel incredible. Like, yeah, incredible.
You're doing what, 100 some odd a week?
Yeah, under 120 usually. But like, I've been doing a fitness challenge, so I beefed it up a little bit. But like, right when it's over, going back to 120, I'm immediately thinking about all my ex-girlfriends and stuff. My brain gets crazy, you know.
Yeah, so I got a lower testosterone test at like 750 at 200, so I just jumped it up to 250. Fuck it.
Yeah, and if your body doesn't react negatively, like if my body didn't react negatively to 200, I'd take 200. Period. Yeah. End of story. Like, no question. But I can tell my blood pressure gets too high. I can tell. It's just my body. I'm a small guy. Like, it's not. Sam is 250 pounds. I'm 170 pounds. So just crossed that 170 mark. Boom, boom. And that was 10 pounds in the last 11 days. So, I mean, 10 pounds
30 days,
in the last 35 days or so. So, yeah, guys, it's about your body. And just like crypto, this stuff takes years to intimately understand. Years. Like, you know this, TVL. Like, in the beginning, you couldn't really feel it the way you do. And now you have an intimate relationship with your body now. Don't you, comparatively?
Well, I just pinned yesterday, so I'm definitely going to have some intimacy with myself here in a minute.
Aries, you guys smash the thumbs up button for that. That was a good one. we had the best comment earlier from this girl who was on. We were talking crypto, and she had a really good comeback. I don't remember the specifics of that, but Hodl Pry or whatever was talking about that.
Hod Pro.
Aries mentions, my urologist has me doing once a week testosterone cypionate injections at 100 milligrams. Just got my labs done. And testosterone is 826. He doesn't test free testosterone. He tests estrogen, total, PSA, and CBC. Bro, you should get a new doctor, dude.
I mean, yeah,
He's not testing free testosterone.
I know. But is he just taking? His doctor prescribed? How do you feel, dude? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I would just ask you, how are you feeling? It sounds like you're not feeling well, like by the comment. Like, so it just
the
depends.
problem is that did he say SHBG? Did his doctor do that?
No.
So
that's why I was saying that, bro. Because the blood work is just not comprehensive enough, in my personal opinion.
True.
Yeah, I'll give the doctor credit for at least doing weekly injections, but I mean, free testosterone and SHBG are one of the most important ones. And so you could be 826 total testosterone, fantastic, looks good on paper, right? You could have freaking 75 SHBG and your free testosterone is still pretty low, so you're not getting enough test. That's why blood work, so important.
And talk about your blood work relation, because everybody converts differently, and apparently they convert differently at different moments in time. Because we've talked about this a couple of times, but TYL actually got blood work done. What is this, over the last 2 years, roughly?
Yeah, I mean, over 4 years, but I mean, I got recent lab work done. It was like a month or two ago.
So GRC, listen, he's got blood work done over the last 4 years. I think you shared the screenshot with me. It was like 5 different times or something like that. And he's got like 1490, 1100, 900, 700, and 500, but not necessarily in that order, but like all at the same time.
I mean, I think we all know, like, as far as when you do your blood work, like, and when you do your injections, like, that's impossible to like extrapolate unless you time it up, right? Like, if you time it up and you're super consistent every single day and then you get your blood work done, yeah, it's going to be even. But I'm sure if you ask TVL, like, over the last 4 years, he's probably been doing twice a day and then 4 times a day, because that's, you kind of have to experiment with it.
Well, I'm pretty consistent. That's why it was very weird. I'm pretty consistent. I do every 3.5 days, same dose, roughly the same time. But I don't know. It's weird, but
still, even if you did that, wouldn't you think there would be a time in the intermediate where you would be much lower? Because if you're doing it, yeah, for sure. No, I would think definitely. Like, if I were to see you and it was 2 days after your last shot rather than the day after, your blood work would be far different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this guy followed up. His doctor said the reason he doesn't test free or SHBG is because it rarely changes his clinical management.
Well, so here's the thing. Okay, cool. He maybe that guy has a lot of data, and maybe we just have no idea what we're talking about. One way that you personally can go through and confirm that we are either idiots or your doctor is an idiot. Not necessarily, like, just confirm for yourself the validity of what your doctor's saying or what we are saying. You can go to a site called like walkinlab.com or walkinlabs.com. Just Google that. And you can order an SHBG and free testosterone site, probably like $80. And then you go to Quest Diagnostic or LabCorp, and they'll draw a little blood, and you'll get an email a couple of days later, and you'll have your results, and you can actually check them yourself without a doctor. So you can check and see, be like, oh, the doctor was right. These guys are completely wrong. And then track this over time, right? You get to track it over time, because a snapshot is valuable, but the trend of the data over time is also very, very valuable. Like, if I can just see what is happening with one data point, that's super cool. But when you add on a series of data points, you get to see where the trend is going and any changes you need to make to improve your health or your blood work in one direction or the other direction. There was a question here from Tony. Yeah. And what happens to the balls on a 40-year-old man? And I got some big ones. Thank you for the detail there. I appreciate that. So it's helpful. Just for the visual for me. Will my chick know? I'm asking for help. GRC, you want to touch on that one?
Your chick will definitely know. I mean, if she has an intimate relationship with oral sex, then she will definitely know about the size difference over probably a 3-month period. She'll probably start to notice, and you'll lose. I also have, weirdly enough, large balls, and so my balls kind of look normal now, I would say, and so it just depends. Some people have small balls, and when they do testosterone, they literally like shoot up into and then you can really tell. But I would say the average guy, they lose like 40 to 60% of their size.
What would test your levels? What do you think?
Wanted to jump back to this, and not even the question about what happens to your balls, but will my chick know? That was what started out to me. Like, why are you hiding this from your girl? I had a buddy that used to do this type of shit where he would bring his testosterone or Anavar at the office, and he would do it at the office, but he wouldn't tell his girl. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know your relationship, but if you can't tell your girl that you're taking medicine that makes you feel better, something off there.
Well, you should be able to tell your girl, like, bro, you had a couple drinks or something, or you did like smoke some weed or something, but you're going to hide from her. Think about that as a man. You're a man. You're an adult man, and you are afraid to speak. There is nothing in this world I'm afraid to say.
He could just be saying, would his chick notice? Like, would she?
But in general,
different way.
But that was more of a message in general, like for everyone. Like you should, like I've had these problems in my past too. When you're younger, you want to hide everything, but then Sam taught me the way.
Talk about that, because GRC and I connected, years ago, and he was thinking about starting to research with Sarms and testosterone. And we're getting to these conversations, and as we dig in deeper and talk about different topics, he's telling how he doesn't want his parents to know, or other people like his friends to know. And we kept pushing, and I kept pushing you on this. Like, why don't you talk about that for a second? Because I kept pushing. Remember how many conversations I would bring it up we talk every week or every other week?
Because I was hurt. I was hurt, like as a young man that was hiding stuff. Still, again, I just started this stuff, so it was pretty taboo. I was a little scared about it. I didn't know exactly what was going on yet. So I wouldn't say I was necessarily like scared to man up, but I was scared of the territory, right? It was new, it was taboo. I didn't know what people would think or if it would hurt me. Like I still was, I didn't know, right? People say lots of things, but you don't know until you do it. Anyway, so Sam would say, he wasn't saying these word for word, but he was like, you're not going to be free in your life until you're 100% free in what you're doing. And I took that to heart at some point. I don't remember when, but like, there's no person that I lie to anymore. I'm so sick of having things on my back, thoughts on my back about what people were thinking or doing. Because back in the day, I was a bit of a scummier dude. Like I was into drugs and I wanted, so I know what it's like to lie about everything. And I never want to go back to that. It's a horrible life, whether that's just being honest about what you believe in. Because sometimes it's hard to be honest about what you believe in, and sometimes it's about specific things like this.
Yes. You put up Jerry's comment here.
Women will bring it up when you have an argument and use it against you. If you're newer on TRT and you start giving your girl shit, sometimes they will do that. My wife will be like, "Okay, Captain Testosterone," and I'm like, hell yeah. But in general, I think, well, the older you get, the less you give a fuck. So at 28, I cared a lot more what people thought about me. And I can see where, people are like, "Oh, you're fucking on gear. That's the only reason you got muscles and all that." But the older you get, the less you care. And yeah.
I have a story on that. So on both directions, right? So I used to also be scared because there's a little bee, and I didn't want to tell my girlfriend, right? So this is when I first started researching with Sarms, probably like 9 years ago, right? So that would mean I was actually probably 28 years old, probably right around 28 years old. And I got my first Sarms. I was living in Brooklyn, and I was dating this girl. She was into the gym too. And I was embarrassed because I was such a coward. I didn't want to tell her about it. So what I did in the bathroom, there was a part of the ceiling where it was kind of open, but where the vent was. So what I would do is I would take the Sarms and I'd put them up into the shower, and then I would take them down when I was in the shower to take them. So that way she would never know. And I was like, oh, clever little bitch here, right? And then we're going to be going somewhere. So she's in the bathroom. She's going to the bathroom or doing her makeup or something. And I'm in the shower. And I go and I lean against the wall to wash my feet or something. And the bottle falls down, and then it falls out on the floor. And I didn't realize this. And then she like opens the curtain and she's like, "What's this?" and then I was like, "Oh, I can't do this. This is a dumb move, Sam. Like, why are you doing something that is so foolish?" And I really took that to heart, to the point where my current girlfriend, when we first started dating, She comes out to Hawaii when I was living in Hawaii. What's up, Bob the guy? She comes out to Hawaii when I'm living in Hawaii. The first time my current girlfriend comes out to Hawaii to visit me, she does an injection for me. I was like, there's no way I'm going to hide this from anybody. If somebody literally has a problem, if the girl or dude, or I don't give a shit, somebody in my family has a problem with what it will do with my life and how I live my life, like I respect that. I still love that person and care for that person. But bro, I'm going to live my life for myself, like 100%. And I think we should talk about some peptides, because that was in the title of the video.
In your title. That's why I put my shit generic. My shit's TRT, peptides, sups. You've called this one out. This one's interesting. I saw this. I'll let you go talk about it. I just read the Wikipedia.
Okay. Well, it's fresh on your mind if you want to touch on it. It's super interesting. So this is a tesofensine is a dopamine, serotonin, and I think it's noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. So what does that mean? Well, those are all neurotransmitters, and your body makes these neurotransmitters, and then it tries to recycle them, as in getting them to go away. It takes them and breaks them down, right? And by utilizing something like that compound down there, it actually stops your body from breaking those down. So it increases dopamine, it increases serotonin, and it increases noradrenaline. The combination, or that trifecta together, has a suppressant effect on your appetite. And this is crazy. So this is a super interesting thing about it. So not only does this suppress your appetite, it also increases your metabolic rate. Think about that. Do you know how DNP increases your, like, how many calories you burn? Okay. Well, I'm not going to say it's DNP. I'm not even slightly trying to make that analogy, but DNP basically increases. So if you need 2,000 calories to maintain exactly where you are, now with DNP, you need.
Could have just said like Adderall.
Well, Adderall decreases your appetite, but does it increase?
Yes, it increases your metabolic rate. Yeah. Okay,
so this increases your metabolic rate and decreases your appetite, like that as well as increasing your blood sugar or insulin sensitivity and decreasing your blood sugar levels. Like, this is freaking awesome, especially for a fat loss type of thing. You were talking about your dopamine getting all effed up when you were younger, and then I was like, I wonder how this would affect somebody, right? If your dopamine levels are increasing, your serotonin and your noradrenaline, like, I wonder how that would affect somebody like you who's gone through that experience before. Don't you research with something that is a dopamine?
Yeah, so I use bupropion, which is a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, which makes me more sensitive to some medications, and that's why I use it personally. But yeah, it's hard to say, right? Like, it's hard to say until you use something. Like, I wouldn't have known that. I was just experimenting with stuff when I started using bupropion, and then I kind of started taking it and I liked the effects, and then I researched afterwards, if you know what I mean. So it's hard for me as someone who's not so researched with that stuff to really extrapolate like what it would do to like my individual body, because again, the variables are so high for each person. It's like some people take testosterone and they wouldn't even notice a damn thing, and then some people take it and it's like they have an erection and they're looking around for girls, and it's like, and it's like, yeah, it's like, so I think it's just variable depending on so many things. But is it one of those things that you feel like you have to hone in on, or is it one of those things that it's like going to make some difference right away?
Well, it has a really small effective dose. So it's like 500 micrograms daily, I think it was. And there's been a couple studies in humans because it's already on phase 2. I think there's like 3 phases for clinical trials, or maybe 4. Is it 3 or 4?
3 phases? I believe 3. I was reading about this, and they were developing it for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, but it didn't really turn out to be that good for it. It turned out to be better as an appetite suppressant, and like you mentioned, increasing your metabolic rate. And I looked at it. One thing I thought was interesting about it is the fucking half-life of it is 9 days. Like, you don't think of peptides as having long half-lives.
I didn't catch that. Oh, super interesting. So wait a second. I think I was looking. I think they took it daily.
I
But maybe
didn't see any of the studies. It has there's another one.
I'd have to look. Yeah, I'd have to look at like how it kind of feels like, because again, when you're talking about these neurotransmitters, like if you take bupropion, like you don't feel that. There's nothing to feel. Like there's no. It's a very intimate like you have to have very intimate understanding of your mental health. Like, and I do, because I had such a hard time with my mental health that when I took something that it helped, I could tell right away. Well, some people are kind of like, I don't know, but like I feel kind of okay all the time. So it's kind of like, so it was a little bit different, but just like serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which I've taken in the past, takes 8 months for serotonin reuptake inhibitors to start working. People don't know that. People have no idea that that's true. It takes 6 to 8 months of taking that stuff every day.
I've never heard that before.
It's true. It's 100% true. And I've done it on 3 or 4 separate occasions. So I have I could pull up videos right now that say that to be 100% fact, because people don't understand that. They stop taking that stuff after 3 weeks and they say, makes me feel like a zombie, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't. Incorrect. It does not. And there's more clinical trials on serotonin reuptake inhibitors than any other thing in this world.
And they're like,
I can answer this question on here, but real quick, I just want to read one sentence because this is about the weight loss aspect of testosterone, however you say it. Patients lost an average of 12.8 kilograms on the 1 milligram dose, 11.3 kilograms on the half milligram dose, and 6.7 kilograms on the 0.25 milligram dose, compared with a 2.2 kilogram loss in placebo. So it's almost triple the placebo. What was the number? The number of
200 in the study that I looked at, 204 people in the sample size of Bitfinesse. I think there was 2 studies with about 200 people, and I believe they were in Denmark. I think that's
this one says 140, but yeah, that's pretty interesting.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, I randomly saw an article on in Australia. They are having a shortage of semaglutide because everyone, it's probably all Sam got everyone taking that shit. But so the company that manufactures it said that they're having a hard time keeping up, and the Australian government is actually like, I don't know, trying to do something where they're only giving it like to priority, giving it to people with actual diabetes, not people who just wanted to lose weight. I was like, damn, that's pretty dope.
So that's what I wanted to actually talk about, and then we'll talk about Alex's question. So semaglutide, right? There's a GLP-1 agonist analog. So what does that freaking mean? It just means that there's something already in your body that is an agonist on the receptor that's basically in your pancreas, or in the edge of your pancreas. And they took that and they changed it a little bit. That's what the analog portion is. So they took the GLP-1, which is already in your body naturally, and they changed the sequence, the amino acid sequence slightly, to increase the half-life. So it's got around a week-long half-life. So when I saw the tesofensine, which is what we were just talking about, the reuptake inhibitor for dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline, I'm like, both of these things have similar results, but they're working in 2 different ways. When we look at bodybuilding, we see, say, for muscle gain, right? We might be looking at things to try to increase muscle, but using different compounds. So we're stacking things together. Bodybuilders and the fitness community are super big on like stacking all sorts of crazy shit. You talk to like the average gym bro, he might be stacking 3 different types of steroids and then putting 2 different, like a different HGH on there, maybe insulin and all this different shit that they can put together to try to increase how anabolic somebody is or how quickly they can actually add muscle. So when you take that framework of like trying to hit things from multiple different angles to be more effective into the fat loss realm, or increasing the overall health profile of something, when you consider insulin sensitivity and blood sugar levels, if you take semaglutide, and we're not recommending it, but semaglutide and the tesofensine, but because you stack them together, a lot of times people will take the effective dose of this, an effective dose of this, an effective dose of this, an effective dose of this, and stack them all together. So they have this giant, we've talked about the milligram load before, of total compounds that somebody's taking. How I do it is a little bit different. Whereas if you have an effective dose of, say, 500 micrograms of tesofensine and of 1 milligram of a GLP-1 agonist, and you decide that it's good to research with those together, you can actually lower the dose of each one of those because they're affecting the same thing but working in 2 different ways, and you're probably going to have better results. And I'm like, this is obviously conjecture, you're probably going to have better results like you would in bodybuilding if you kept your test dose a little bit lower and you added in a peptide for HGH or something instead of just jumping your test dose up really, really high. Like, instead of taking a gram of test and just use that to add muscle, maybe drop your test dose down to 500, add in some other anabolic, and then add in something for HGH. The same idea would play out for fat loss or improving your blood sugar levels or improving your insulin sensitivity. By stacking both of these things together, maybe you can cut the dose down in half on both of those. So then not only is it more effective at accomplishing the results you want, but you're more than likely going to see a drop in the risk profile associated with that. Because I was like, these 2 things are freaking super cool. That was one of the things that I was thinking about at the beginning of actually putting together this the video here. But I wanted to talk about this question here from Alex.
Just real quick, do you remember on one of the shows I said that I had, like, in my Google Keeps, which is like my notes, I had Ozempic, and I totally forgot why the fuck I even had that on there. I was just looking at Aries' comment, and I was like, I just typed in, I was like, what the fuck is Ozempic for? It's fucking semaglutide. I didn't even realize that. I'm such an idiot.
Oh, dope.
That's the prescription. That's $1,300 a month.
Damn. Wow, that's some like HGH like compound pricing. What do you guys think about this? GRC, you've done this before, and Tester Levels, you've both done this, so I want to hear both of your inputs. Alex Z, can you talk about adding ostarine or LGD dose to TRT? Like, what is your experience like?
I'm not a doctor or a lab rat, but I know for certain that I start 5 milligrams. I start the lowest dose and move up. So generally, if I were to take a SARM, it would be extremely, extremely, extremely effective, like immediately. Like, I would notice it the next day, pump. This is just my experience, guys. Like, if I took LGD right now, my pump tomorrow would be absolutely nuclear. And so just know that it's the smallest dose. You can always add, but you can't subtract really. Like, once your brain goes to a certain point, you kind of want to be at that point in a weird way. Just like test, people take 400 milligrams of test. They have sex like 7 times in a month, and they're like, "This is great," but really, you're like, dude, you need to, with like 7 different people. But you're like, dude, you need to realize like sustainability, long term. You want to be here for a while, and you want to be not crazy. So you got to calm yourself down. And by taking a small amount, you can see your emotional regulation as you go, like in a more like structured way.
And it's just healthier to, in my personal opinion, to approach things in that manner. TYL, you've done test and you've done LGD or like SARMs plus test. What are your thoughts on that?
I did Rad 140. I
remember those videos, by the way. I remember them. That was right when I started watching you when you were effing with that. That was awesome.
That was when that was my pet rat squeakers.
Yeah, that was you. You're the one who always fucking talks about the pet rat shit. You're probably the reason that I fucking start saying that all the time.
I was sorry. Yeah, I was trying to make a little comedy thing about squeakers having sex with my wife, and it was good times. That was when my videos used to do good. now they suck, but no, Rad 140. So I mean, SARMs, they're similar. They do, essentially do the same thing, just in kind of different ways. But LGD gave me nausea when I took it, so I didn't really enjoy taking that. But when I took Rad 140 on TRT, I mean, definitely strength. I felt strength a lot. I mean, that's kind of what Rad 140 is known for, and vascularity and hardness. But, one thing to note is that SARMs can crush your SHBG, on top of the TRT. So, you may go into a territory where your testosterone level is the same, but your free testosterone jumped up high, and that could throw you off.
Can you give people context who don't understand or just don't have like the knowledge of total test, free test, how SHBG is involved in that? Because we have that understanding because we've talked about this shit for years, right? But I have a feeling a lot of people don't necessarily know what you mean when you talk about the SHBG and how SARMs are actually affecting that.
Okay. I actually have a pretty good analogy for this too. All right. So you have total testosterone. Let's say total testosterone, let's say that's $1,000, right? So, but you put the $1,000 in the bank, right? And then SHBG is the bank telling you you can only have $500 right now. And you're like, oh shit, I can only have $500. That $500 is your free test. So, and that's the test that your body actually uses. So let's say that your bank says, well, you can only take out $100 right now. Well, now your free test is low, your SHBG is high, and you have less free testosterone. So now you're $100, you can't pay your bills, and you're fucked. And then so you inject testosterone, it helps lower that SHBG, and SARMs will do the same thing, but it can do it too much to where it throws you off. And like for me, Rad 140, like when I would get out of the shower and like do my hair, when I used to do my hair, I would have normally I would have like 2 or 3 hairs on my hand. On Rad 140, it like doubled. I didn't like lose hairline, but I could tell it was tough on my hair.
Wow. Yeah. I've done many research cycles with SARMs and testosterone. It's from the blood work standpoint, they were just talking about, I personally like that better than traditional anabolics. Or at least I have a lot more experience in the realm of SARMs plus TRT versus SARMs or testosterone plus like any type of anabolic, like in the traditional sense of, gear and steroids and stuff like that. But I like that. I've been doing that off and on for a number of years. Yes, smart cookie over there. That was a good analogy. That was a very good, because you're trying to you describe testosterone and then you're like, okay, well then there's proteins in your body that grab some of that testosterone and their SHBG. But I liked your bank analogy there.
SHB binds up your testosterone and just it dictates to your body how much it can use, essentially.
So testosterone also, if you're just taking testosterone, testosterone increases your SHBG. So we had a question last week where the guy wanted to lower his SHBG, but he was natural, right? Do you remember that?
No.
Well, so basically, he was natural and he had high SHBG, and he wanted to lower that to increase his free testosterone. The bank was like, hey, you can only have $25 a month to use the same analogy that Tester Levels was talking about. And he wanted more than $25 a month from his bank account. So he was trying to take things like boron and other things like that to help raise his free test level, because the free test is what your body's going to use. It's going to be like what helps with your sex drive and many other things. So Tony Starks, I like the name, bro, and the cat picture. Really, oh my God, I'm just finding this out. But hurt my knee. What's good, SARM, for healing the knee pain? You want to take that one?
You have to take injectable Testosterone, and it'll fix your knee up right just in a second. That was actually, I forgot that I actually did injectable Testosterone for 30 days straight pre-workout, and I could have killed someone every single day. Literally with my bare hands. I didn't care if they were 600 pounds or 100 pounds. I could have choked them to death. That stuff made me wild, but I'm telling you, I was benching at like 160 pounds. I was benching like 225 for like 18. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was pushing it in there and like I was ripped up. But again, those were my experimental days. But no, as far as SARMs are concerned, selective androgen reuptake, selective androgen receptor modulator would be not for knee pain, probably not.
No.
You're
BPC 157 and TB 500. BPC, in my opinion, works faster. TB 500 is a little more slower acting, but if I had to pick one, I would go with BPC all day long.
Another one that I'd like to put in on top of there, and I just shared a link for shop.letstalkpeds, shop.letstalkpeds, which is Triggered, which is my company. And I have research peptides there where I have BPC 157, TB 500, and the other compound that is also great for wound healing and overall healing within the body is GHK-Cu. GHK-Cu helps. I don't know if I told you about this. I definitely didn't tell GRC. So every like 1 or 2 years or 3 years, every once in a while, I'll get a cold sore, whether I'm stressing myself out in some way or whatever the case is. Maybe I'm just not getting enough sleep. It tends to be at a certain time, and then I'll get one. So I wake up one morning, and I was like, oh, I can feel it. Feels like a cold sore, and it's like a little pink, right? So I'm like, okay. I have some liquid GHK-Cu. It's not on the site yet, if anybody checks it out. And I took the GHK-Cu, the liquid, because it's natural. So it's already in your body. Our bodies already have BPC. Our bodies already have TB 500. Our bodies already have GHK-Cu in them. These are all things that are already in our body. And the whole string of amino acids is just like, let me pull out this specific part of the amino acid. And this is like for BPC or TB 500, right? That's thymosin beta 4 or GHK, right? So I put the GHK-Cu on my lip, and then I took a shower after I came home from the gym, did the same thing. The cold sore on my lip was gone in 3 days. 3 days. This is astonishing. I was trying to look it up to see. They were saying about 3 weeks for a cold sore to get better. 3 weeks. And this, for me, was gone in 3 days with GHK-Cu. It's a super, super awesome peptide. I think this is probably a pretty good time to wrap this up. I would think, right? Unless you guys have something else. GRC, you wanna shill anything at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning? Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I have a show every single day. It's called Crypto in the Morning, where we cover the decentralized finance space in the most detailed and comprehensive way on the internet. So if you want to learn how to make free internet money all the time, basically, you can come to me.
TYL, you also have your own company, and you want to talk about that real quick? Anybody wants to support?
I sell custom-made rainbow dildos. So if you, I have turkesterone. I have liquid turkesterone. I also have a supplement called No AI, which has pretty much every herb that's been shown to help with estrogen management, as well as something for bioavailability. That website is HC Gains. Every purchase gets a free rainbow dildo.
with a picture of it being used. So that's a really, really good deal.
That's the customization right there. That's what really brings it home.
And I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to GRC for taking the time out of your day to come out here. Appreciate you taking the time. Acknowledge you for sharing your experience and the growth that I've seen in you over the last year. TYL has also, when we first started doing the show, his intros versus the intro in this one is like the first time I've done one in several weeks, I feel like. But TYL, I've also seen his presentation ability for getting his point across increase tremendously over the last year. So you guys are awesome. Everybody in the chat is awesome. If you want to check out anything I'm related to, there's links down below for some triggered stuff, super awesome stuff. My company for shit that I want. You can check it out. There's BPC, TB 500, etc., all that kind of stuff. And I don't sell rainbow dildos that are custom made. For that, you have to check out TYL. We all have
Jim Rat Crypto on everything, guys. Jim Rat Crypto, everything.
We'll have to talk about girl stuff next time.
Yeah, so we are going to bring next time Monica from Monica MoFit Meals. We will talk about some hormone stuff related to women, about what we know, because I think that would be an interesting topic.
Yes. And there was several comments here that we actually didn't get into. Sam, you don't think that it's necessary to let your muscles recover for 48 hours?
Hell no. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. 48 hours, dude. 48 hours. I could work out for 48 hours straight and I would still work out the next day. I hate when people do that. It's like, you're not Ronnie Coleman, dude. You're not squatting 850 pounds. You're probably squatting like 225 for 10. You can do that every day. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not.
You guys are squatting 225 for 10?
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think the average person that's commenting random bodybuilding questions in here would be in the place where like their overtraining would be a big issue to them, in my opinion. And it's not, I'm not talking about you, as I obviously don't know who you are, sir. Of course.
He's calling you out to your face.
But like
on
I
YouTube.
I probably did bicep curls every day for 70 days straight. And you know, it makes your biceps bigger.
So,
but if you're not on PEDs, it is different. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Like you seem like you're not on. You're talking about if you're on Sarms, or if you're on something. Yes, if you're on one of those things, you can pretty much work out every day. But if you're tired as hell, take a break, dude. Like, but if you're not tired as hell, don't take a break. Like, don't. There's no 48-hour window of magic. Like, it's like no. I work all day like this. Do you think my body's like in severe stress right now? Like, no, it's recovering while I eat and do my lifestyle. But when I go to the gym for 45 minutes to an hour every single day, I rip it pretty hard. But if you do it consistently for over a year, like your body doesn't really get sore anymore. Like I have to do legs like extremely excruciatingly hard to make it hurt now. And before I could do like normal shit.
And because it's
you know, the thing is with the fitness industry is they always have to find something new to write about. And so people make up all kinds of different crazy shit and bullshit. And I'm doing super pronated upside down curls. It really works this part of the forearm. Long story short, go to the fucking gym and work out as hard as you possibly can. Eat your food, eat protein, and do some cardio. And if you do it consistently, you will build muscle.
And get your blood work done, you fools.
Yes. And Red Baron, I have a bunch of videos on YouTube on this channel related to BPC. If you go to the channel, you search BPC.
I think a bunch is understatement.
Red Baron, watch my video first. Don't watch Sam's.
Unfollow both of these guys and go to my channel, guys. And follow me.
Oh, sorry.
We're all losing followers. We're trying to poach each other's subscribers.
Yeah, it's like everyone's gone now.
That's what you dicks.
No, this has been great. We'll definitely have you back on regularly if you want to come on, GRC. This has been awesome. Appreciate everybody, and we'll see you guys. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow morning. Test your levels. It was good seeing you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace out, guys.